the stakes are so low. You had a question that I'm sorry, I passed over you.
What's your favorite Risley voice line?
My favorite Risley voice line is "Don't break the law." Yeah, like it was so random. All those idle lines. I remember being in the booth with the director, being like, "Really? Like this is what you were like?" Okay, but yeah, "Don't break the law." I like that line. That and if the Duke wants somebody dead, he needs no justification.
Just a direct connection to like musicality. If some of your characters formed a band, what like instrument would they play?
Okay, if some of my characters formed a band, what instrument would they play? Okay, so we have to figure out, I think first, who's the bass player, right? Because when you meet a bass player, you know they're a bass player. Anybody here a bass player? I knew it. I think Kurt Vander from Trails would probably be the bass player, right? I think he'd probably end up being the bass player. Claude would be the front man. He'd be the guitar player and or singer, but he wouldn't be very good at guitar. He'd be like the guy that like, you know, he's not like, he can't riff, he's just like, he can just play chords. Let's see, who would drum? I don't know, who do you think would drum?
Risley.
You think Risley would drum?
Possibly.
I think Risley could be like your emo singer as well. Maybe. Fox behind the drum kit would be kind of like where I'm saying. I think that probably completes my band. I think for the most part, yeah. Somebody would be out there on like pads and synth in the back. The bacteria from Cells at Work would be on them. The keys. Yeah.
The first time I heard your voice was Hoshino in Lost in
Oh, cool.
Lost Judgment.
He would probably be the bass player. I'm sorry.
I'm just curious if, like, because he's kind of a funny character because he's such a deeply normal guy with all this drama kind of happening in his peripheries. I was just wondering, kind of a self-indulgent question, if you have any like anecdotes or like interesting thoughts about recording for those games.
For Yakuza in general?
Yeah.
Or we're talking about Hoshino from Yakuza Judgment. Those games, it's actually one of the 2 games in my life that I booked while I was playing it. The first one, I guess 3. Oh my god, and it's all from the same studio. Anyway, I won't go into a tangent. It was great because I had just got done playing Yakuza 0, which was like my first exposure to Yakuza, so I kind of like knew the vibe. That it was like, it's fun to play off the absolutely absurd and have like the straight man, which was kind of like Hoshino, which is just like, I'm like this fish out of water, everyone around me is absolutely insane, and I'm just a guy who's in love with the secretary, right? That was really fun. It was really fun getting to be like, every once in a while like nod to the absurd, like look, be like, this is insane, but otherwise be very like, I'm just a guy, like at a desk. It was fun.
Thank you.
Yeah. What else we got? How much time we got? It's 3 p.m.
7 minutes.
Okay. 7 minutes. All the way in the back.
Yeah, I used to kind of watch you on Twitch back when you were...
Why?
Hello, Joe. I used to watch you back on Twitch back when you played Three Houses, and you give voice acting tips every now and then, and recently I've seen you start to pop up in a lot of advertisements for voice acting. Can I ask, what was the push to finally start, like, teaching?
That question. Like the fact that I was getting a couple of things, really. I was getting tons of questions about like, how do you get into this, et cetera, this industry is super mysterious, you know, like, and then I got tired of answering the same questions over and over again. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and he was like, have you ever considered coaching? And I was like, I don't think people need coaching. It's prohibitively expensive, it's hard to do, it's a drain on like both of our times, like it eats up your calendar. And then I realized that like nobody anywhere in the industry had a baseline where it was like, instead of going and spending like $350 an hour on a coach who's going to work you through like specific copy, like I have this term called the talent entrepreneur, right? The way it was in the 1970s and 80s is not the way it is anymore, where like you're walking on the street in Hollywood, an agent overhears you make a coffee order and goes, kid, I'm going to make you a star, right? Like that's not the way it goes. You have to be a businessman, you have to be an entrepreneur, you have to be diverse, you have to be flexible, you have to be good with money, you have to be good with like all this stuff, and then like coaching and acting school teaches you none of that, like none of that. So that's how I kind of put together the idea of like, well, I had no prior acting experience. I kind of stumbled into this industry. How did I build my career? Could I make that into something that's like easily digestible for people to low commitment say, is this for me? And thus the Academy was born. And now it's kind of like this big network of things inside learnvoiceacting.com. But yeah. Yeah.
Can I give you a bit of a testimonial and then ask 2 questions?
Okay.
So there's a question about mics. I spent under $100 on equipment, and I had done like 2 weeks of the course. I've been auditioning for a week, and I booked my first role.
Hell yeah.
Casting call.
See, you don't need $1,000. That's great. Yeah, and I hear stories like that all the time. Yeah.
So like it's anybody that's like struggling with it, like get out of your own way, just start
do it.
recording. Yeah, just start doing it. First question, you make a lot of book recommendations in the course. Do you have like one that stands above like all the rest where you're like, this is probably like the most life-changing book I've read?
You know, books are like art in that like it all depends on what you need, right? So when I read, for example, The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss, right? I needed that because I was way overworked. It was 2016. I was booking like 2 jobs a day and I was just buried. And so I figured out how to delegate, right? And I hired an assistant and started building a team. So like I needed that at that moment in time. The Power of Myth by Joseph Campbell is not a book per se, it's an interview series, but it's distilled in a book form. That's the book I've read the most in my entire life. But there's goofy stories surrounding it, but like that's how I basically got into the idea of storytelling and like what that means for us as a human race. And that's become kind of like a center pillar of my life. So if you're into storytelling at all, The Power of Myth by Joseph Campbell.
Second question, do you have a favorite anime?
Do I have a favorite anime?
To watch, yeah.
Yeah, watch me grow gray hair here, Trigun.
Hell yeah.
I just got older like in real time. Trigun's a great freaking anime with an incredible soundtrack. I listen to it weekly, like still. Like it's just, man, it's so great. Yeah. Well, you haven't asked a question yet, have you?
Do you like tea?
Do I like tea? It's going to really disappoint people. No, not in general. There are occasional times where I'm like, tea sounds good. When I went to London, I drank a lot of tea and I enjoyed all of it. But for the most part, I'm a coffee guy. Yeah. All right. How much time do we have? Because I'm gonna.
Probably like 1 question.
Okay. Ask them all at the same time. Go. You haven't asked a question yet, correct?
Oh, I'm.
Behind you. No, ask me a question.
Did you come to Alberta on purpose?
Did I come to Alberta on purpose? No, it was weird. I thought I was going to Albuquerque. And like just the plane took a hard left and I ended up in Alberta.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, it just happens. Not joking, a month ago I was on my way to Bozeman and woke up in Spokane, Washington. That's a real thing that happened. That's what I asked. Okay guys, well, thank you guys for coming to this solo panel. All your burning questions.
Reminder for everybody who was asking those voice acting questions.
Come Saturday. Yeah, I'm going to leave a whole chunk of time because I'm not going to give you, like, there'll be a PowerPoint. I made a PowerPoint for Saturday.
I know I'll never be the same. Shook my world so hard again. Wish I washed away my sins. He's a dead man.